Hello, this is Tariq Alwan. I'm going to show you a quick demo about how to install Microsoft Windows 2016 Server on Vmware Workstation. Sure, you can do that as well on Oracle VirtualBox or Hyper-V. For the sake of this demo or quick demo, I will start with Vmware Workstation. What we usually do before that, we give you a link on vCollaborate to download a free version from Windows 2016 Server ISO version. This is the link. You just click over here and you fill this form and download. I have already downloaded that version and let's start. Since we will face some delay in installation, sometimes the installation takes between 15 to 20 minutes, and I will show you how to install that. And then I'm going to show you in another video how to create a domain controller, install Active Directory domain services on the machine, and promote it. We create a domain controller, which you start doing a network server management. We will do some pausing sometimes, especially with the domain controller, because sometimes it takes between 15 to 20 minutes in installation. It depends on how powerful your computer is. The first thing to do exactly just go over here and create a new machine, mount the ISO image to it, and just over here, I'm gonna create an administrator version, put a password which meets the password complexity in our system. Name it the name you like. For example, I'm gonna put this one as VU College. Leave it as 60 gig as it is. Over here, I'm gonna give 8 gig, sometimes more than that, because I have 32 gig in my machine. It depends on how powerful your machine is, but you need to meet the minimum requirement. Here it is. The machine starts, and that's usually, it will take a few minutes until fully installation. Let's watch that for a couple minutes. I believe that it will not take that much time since I put almost like 9 gig on it. Here it is. Let's see how many minutes it will take. That's not bad for getting ready. As I say that, again, it depends on how powerful your computer is or your server is. If you have a computer or laptop with 16 gig RAM, we reckon that to give at least 6 gig to this server. However, if you have 8 gig only on your laptop, we reckon to give it at least 4 gig if you don't want to have a slow machine. Servers usually, especially with the Windows 1, the data center version require average RAM and CPU. That's 1 minute so far. That's 2 minutes so far. That's excellent record. That's 3 minutes. Here it is. I believe this is like an excellent record. If you can install the server in 4 minutes only, that's better than anybody expect. When you install that, usually the Vmware starts like updating its own tools and it may ask to start again. Here it is. I'm going to start to be in the safe side. Usually, if you do that on VirtualBox, you will not need to do that, neither the Hyper-V. Vmware is always like asking for latest updates. But still, 4 minutes is an excellent timing to install such a machine. Here it is, and that's excellent and ready for whatever we do here. That's as administrator, and as you can see here, what I did exactly. I log in as an administrator, but that's machine administrator, not domain controller administrator yet. First thing to do when we work on something like that, get rid of all those non-running services. Just start all the services which is not running. Yeah, make sure when you do any work to work on something like that, which is all greeny. If you go over here, you will find that this is the computer name and that's work group, and you have no IP address. To work on servers, you need to have a static IP address. So what I usually do at the first thing before I work, like to prepare my machine, you go over here and you start putting static IP address. That's the first thing to do. Just to give it, for example, 192.168, 192.168.10.1, 192.168.10.1. That's it. That's it. Nothing more than that. And over here, you can leave the computer name like this, or you change that into a new name, whatever you want. For the sake of this demo only, I'm gonna leave that name as it is, since if we change that name now, it has to reboot. So what to do exactly? I want to see that the static IP address shows up here. Yes. Now we can do the next move. And the next move over here, what we will do exactly, we will install or add rule. The add rule called Active Directory Domain Services. What does that exactly does? The Active Directory Domain Services, usually that's the one which make you create a domain controller with Active Directory users and computers, DNS, and so on, and group policy, which is the tool which give you the options to control the groups in terms of users, computers. So what we'll do exactly, very easy and very quick as well. We will add rule. Next, rule-based feature installation, leave the static as it is. Since we have one server only, I'm gonna leave it as it is. Over here, this is the rule we want install. Active or add. Active Directory Domain Services. You click next. It come up with group policy as you see. It come up with different features. Here, the Active Directory Domain Services. Do we need to start for now? No. Here it is. That's usually in normal computer. If you have 4 gig or something, sometimes take between 2 to 5 minutes. Here, I don't think that's gonna take that long time. So let's see how long it take. Usually in this computer, usually take up to 1 minute. Here it is. That's done already. As you can see here, as soon as this one finish, we have something here, exclamation mark shows up. What that exclamation mark exactly? We used to have a command called DC promo until 2008 version. As of 2012, to promote the domain controller, to the server to become a domain controller. To promote that, we used to have a command line. Now, since 2012 until 2022 right now, we got rid of that command and we actually using right now a Vmware version. Let's promote that. We will create a new forest, which means that since we do not have any forest means like for example, ipm.com, apple.com, apple.org, vu.edu.au, whatever the name of the company, the corporate, or the top domain level or tree level, which we will discuss that later. I'm gonna call that abc.com, and it has to have dot. Doesn't have to have com, but it has to have dot or .net, .local, .edu, .military, whatever you want, but in terms of the DNS. However, without dot, it will not work, and it's going to give you error. Over here, it asks you the force function level and the domain function level. For now, just leave everything as it is, and we will discuss that in later sessions. As you can see here, when you install an Active Directory Domain Services for the first time without DNS, it add already a DNS. I'll put the password to secure that. This is just only a delegation warning. It's not an error. Here, it should come up with ABC. Anything before the dot, it should come up with. If it didn't, that means your work is not correct. That's ABC, that's correct. Here, it will take us to the path where you want to save the database folders, which is the NTDS and the system vault. We will discuss that in details in another session. This is the review, and here is the most important task before the installation. What is that exactly? That this task will check all the prerequisite checks. If it come with green, as you can see over here, that means everything in your system ready and pass all the prerequisite check. If it come with red, it's gonna give you the error with explanation. What is that exactly? For example, if I didn't put a static IP address, it will come with red and it tell you that there is no static IP address. We will hit install and we will wait for, in my system here, maybe 3-4 minutes. In your system, maybe up to 10 minutes. For that, I may pause, then I'll come back to you in 3 to 4 minutes. That was very quick, and I don't need actually to even to pause. As you can see here, 9 gig done good work. It will reboot by itself. Don't touch it, just leave it. It will reboot. And here, it may take up to a couple minutes because that's the first time after the domain controller. So sometimes it take time to configure all the setting on the new domain controller. When we come back, you will see me logging in as administrator, but not on the machine. Actually, I'm gonna log in as administrator on the domain called ABC, the one we did just create. And here it is. Now it's done. As you can see here, I am administrator on the ABC first domain. So what I'm going to do exactly, I'm going to log in. And from here, we will start managing resources. What is managing resources? I'm going to give permissions. I can create users. I'm going to show you how to create users, security groups, which we will discuss later, as well group policy, and so on. For the sake of the demo only, I'm going to show you very quick things to do. We do have scripts to do that. However, we will do that manually. Here, this is the Active Directory domain users and computers. This is what we usually do when you walk into the university new or the college. We go under here and we create new user. For example, I'm going to put, for example, myself. And I'm going to give myself the login as TL1. I'm going to put over here a password. And you can see leave that user must change the password next login, as we have usually done with you when you enrolled with us. Here it is. You can do that. We can do that manually, as you can see, and we have a script. We can create thousands of users in just only matter of few comments. The same concept apply. I can create here security groups. I can create a security group over here for NIT2122. That security group, I can add myself, for example, to this group if I want to. I just type over here NIT2122. You click, I'm in the group right now. So if you go for the security group over here and check the members, you will find me inside the members. So if I want to give you permissions or deny you permissions, I put you inside a security group, then we give you or deny you some permissions. One last thing, which is maybe you will learn that in week 7, what we call that you will practice on that, but you will learn about that in week 4, but you will practice that on week 7. What we do exactly, we will create something called OU, which is we need that the OU, a container. We need that OU to apply security permissions and denial using group policy. I'm gonna name that OU like that. Then after that, I can add anything inside that. For example, if I want to delegate version, which is away from your study for now. That was a quick demo for how to install Active Directory domain services, install version from scratch on Vmware Workstation, how to create users, how to create security groups, create OU, and that's done in less than 20 minutes. I hope that you have enjoyed. Thank you.